Good morning, everyone. Today we will start chapter number 7, combustion and fuel. Combustion and fuels. First, we'll understand what is combustion. The process of burning of fuels to produce heat and light is known as combustion. Now our question is, what are fuels or what is a fuel? So fuel is the source of energy, and to obtain that energy we have to burn the fuel. We all need energy to meet the demands, to fulfill our needs of the various ways in which we obtain energy. The most common method is from coal, wood, petrol, diesel, kerosene, natural gas, LPG, etc. That means we burn these things, either we burn coal or we burn wood or we burn petrol, diesel, kerosene, natural gas or LPG, and then we get energy. So all these things which we burn to get energy from them, we call them as fuels. So by burning fuel we get heat and light energy both. But our main requirement is heat, and while burning, heat is in more amount and light energy is also accompanied by heat energy. Now we come to the next paragraph, thermal energy and related terms. Thermal energy is the most common form of energy that mankind have been able to use. That means heat energy is the most common type of energy we the human beings have been able to use since long time. And how is that heat energy obtained? That I have already told you all in the previous paragraph, that it is obtained by combustion, by burning. So in this next paragraph we have been given the definition of combustion. When a substance combines fast with oxygen, giving out heat and light, the phenomenon is known as combustion. If you want to write the definition in short, you can write in what I had told you earlier. The process of burning of fuels to produce heat and light is known as combustion. In short, I mean to say that combustion involves burning of substance. Burning of substance. All the substances cannot be called as fuels. When a substance burns, it produces heat and light, then only it is known as fuel. And that also heat and light should be in sufficient amount. Then only we call it as a fuel. And fuel is classified on the basis of physical property states and on the basis of their occurrence. So a substance that undergoes combustion is said to be combustible. For example, wood, coal, petrol, diesel, natural gas and petroleum gas are combustible substances. And what is a fuel? This definition also I have told you earlier. See in your book, in this line it is given, a substance that is burned with a view to obtain heat and light from it is called a fuel. So we can say wood, coal, petrol, diesel, kerosene, wax, etc. are all fuels. So what does a fuel contain, or what how we know that this is a fuel, or what is the criteria for putting something into a category of a fuel? So the substance that is made up of carbon and hydrogen is put under the category of a fuel, and the substance that contains or that is made up of carbon and hydrogen and produces heat and light on burning, that substance only can be put under the category of a fuel. As all the substances which we have seen just now, wood, coal, petrol, diesel, kerosene, etc., contain carbon either in the free state or in combined state, they are said to be carbon based fuel. And hydrogen is an example of non carbon based fuel, because in hydrogen there is no carbon. But good fuels have both carbon as well as hydrogen. Now we will see the next topic, supporter of combustion. What is a supporter of combustion? A supporter of a combustion is that substance whose presence is essential for the combustion of another substance. And when we saw just now the example of wood, coal, petrol, diesel, kerosene, etc., we all of us know that they burn in presence of air, or more precisely we can say they burn in presence of oxygen. So we can say that oxygen is a supporter of combustion. If we will have a lighted splinter and we'll bring it close to a test tube containing carbon dioxide gas or hydrogen gas, then what happens? That burning splinter goes off. That means carbon dioxide or hydrogen gas is not a supporter of combustion. Here we are told to perform an activity to understand that air is a supporter of combustion. Now all of you look at page number 68 of your book, figure 7.1. You can see in this figure that in this diagram that a candle is burning. And very nicely, very brightly this candle is burning. Now what we will do, when we will put a glass, we will invert a glass over this candle will go off after some time. So in the first case, the candle is burning very nicely because it is getting the supply of air from all around it. But as soon as we cover this candle with the help of a glass, then it keeps on burning. It continues burning for few minutes, as long as there is oxygen inside the glass. Now when this oxygen gets finished, the candle goes off. That means when the candle has used all the oxygen of the air inside the glass for burning, the candle goes out. So this activity proves that air is a supporter of combustion, and more precisely, oxygen is a supporter of combustion. Now we are told to do another activity. See page number 69, activity number 2 on the top. Figure you see 7.2. What are we told to do? We are told to do an activity. We are told to perform an activity to understand that carbon dioxide is a non-supporter of combustion. So what we will do? When washing soda or baking soda is reacted with an acid, say vinegar solution or just vinegar, then carbon dioxide gas is produced. What we will do? We will take some baking soda in a small bottle as shown in the diagram and add some vinegar to it. We will light a candle and hold a folded piece of paper in a slanting position as shown in this diagram in this figure 7.2. We will keep the mouth of the bottle near the upper end of the paper, and then we will see that the candle is burning. But soon what we will do, we will pour the solution which is in our bottle on that paper. From upward direction, it will flow towards the downward direction, that means towards the candle. And since there is a mixture we have taken in the bottle baking soda and vinegar, then in the meantime reaction has taken place and the carbon dioxide gas is produced. This carbon dioxide gas which is produced there puts off the candle, and that's why after few minutes what we will see that the candle goes off. It is no more burning. So this activity proves that carbon dioxide is not a supporter of combustion. If it was a supporter of combustion, then it would not have gone out, because it is getting continuously supply of oxygen or air all around it. But from this one side we have allowed carbon dioxide to come, and that carbon dioxide gas, as it reached toward the candle flame, it surrounded it from all sides and it did not allow the oxygen to come in. That means the supply of oxygen was cut off and then the candle goes off. You must have seen a fire extinguisher in your school or some offices or banks you go. There is a fire extinguisher hung on the wall near the main gate or on each floor. That fire extinguisher also works on this principle, that carbon dioxide is a non-supporter of combustion. That is a soda acid type fire extinguisher. When that soda, baking soda and acid reacts, then it produces carbon dioxide gas. And carbon dioxide gas, being heavier than oxygen, it comes down and surrounds the fire and cuts off the supply of oxygen, and hence the fire gets extinguished. That's why that red colored one, some bottle type, cylinder type you have seen in your school and offices and banks, etc. They hang it and put it there, so that if by mistake, if by chance, any time there is a fire in the building, in the school, in the bank, in the office, then that fire extinguisher can be used to put off the fire easily. Now let us come to the next paragraph, ignition temperature. What is ignition temperature? So before going to the definition, let us understand that when you take wood or you take coal and you try to burn it, does it start burning as soon as you lit it up? You take a matchstick and put the fire on a big piece of or a small piece of wood only, or some pieces of coal, does the wood or the coal start burning soon? No, it doesn't start burning soon. For some time it has to be heated, and only then after some time it starts to burn with flame. But when it starts burning, but when it starts burning, that means in the initial stage when I have put the matchstick, it has not caught fire in whole wood or in whole of the coal. Slowly it catches fire in whole. Why? Because when we are lighting it up, then it is getting heated up, and slowly it reaches to some particular temperature, and then it catches fire, and then the whole of the coal or the wood starts burning slowly. A fuel starts burning only when it is heated to a temperature, particular temperature, and that particular temperature is known as ignition temperature. So how will you write the definition of ignition temperature? You will write the temperature to which a substance must be heated before combustion takes place is known as ignition temperature. Again I am repeating, the temperature to which a substance must be heated before combustion takes place is known as ignition temperature. If you want to say the definition in simple language, you can say in this way: the minimum temperature at which a fuel catches fire is known as ignition temperature. That means it is the lowest temperature, minimum temperature at which a fuel will start burning. Now we are told to do an activity. You see the figure 7.3. A paper cup containing water does not burn when placed over a fuel, over a flame, burning flame, over a burning fuel or a flame. What we are told? We are told to take a paper cup containing water and put it over the flame. We will see the water will become hot, but the cup will not burn. This is because the water takes away the heat from the cup and does not allow it to reach its ignition temperature. Although we are heating that paper cup, but the heat is passed on from the paper cup to the water, and the water gets heated up. And since the heat from the paper has been taken by the water, the paper does not reach its temperature at which it will catch fire, and it does not burn. That means whatever is the minimum temperature required for the burning of paper is not attained by that glass, paper glass or paper cup, and so it does not catch fire. Now you can understand that why water is used to extinguish fire. Because when we pour water over a burning substance, then that water absorbs the heat from that substance. And because of this what happens, the temperature of the substance falls down below the ignition temperature, and hence it stops burning. Now another question may be asked from you, that why a log of wood takes a longer time to start burning than wood shavings when heated in a flame. So you can say the answer in this way, that a log of wood has a huge mass, So when we heat it with a flame, the heat the log receives is dissipated through its whole mass, through the whole bulk, and the log takes a long time to attain the minimum temperature at which it will catch fire. But when, on the other hand, we take wood shavings having much smaller mass, it can attain the ignition temperature very fast, very easily, and so it starts burning. Thus, in this way, we can say that a log or a large piece of wood takes a longer time than wood shavings to start burning. We will see the next part of this chapter another day. Now your homework is whatever definitions I have told in the while explaining, whatever new terms has come, you write the definition of those terms in your copy and learn them. Thank you.